It's not ethical.
I kind of look at Cardano in a sense as kind of a new generation of Ferrari, right? Like, and there are two. Personally, I would love to see marketing efforts split between the developer target and the end user target. And I think one of the best and easiest ways, from my perspective as an end user and a long-term supporter, to understand what Cardano is being designed and built and capable of, is by shining significant spotlights on the applications that utilize that functionality, which right now I feel we don't see a lot of. And so, if we have, applications that are utilizing, like 1,000 cores, and they're doing it in an effective way in a use case that the general public can utilize and understand, shining a consistent spotlight on those applications can preach that gospel without getting super technical, right? It's just showing, look what we are doing that these other blockchains aren't capable of. And then if they want, they can ask further questions as to, well, how does that work? And why does it work that way? And why is that so different than everything else I'm used to seeing? But, that's definitely, I think hopefully that'll start really happening more and more as more of these applications continue launching that are kind of in the pipeline right now.
Yeah, but and it doesn't stop us from marketing. Once you have a community treasury fund, maybe we go to Dana White, we sponsor UFC. There maybe we can go and sponsor, some big event, whatever. That can happen. There's just a question of what happens afterwards. What funnel do they go into, and what are they being told, and what's being said? And so really the community as a whole has to drill down to the top 3 or 5 value propositions and the things that make it unique and what people can do in Cardano that's exciting and fun. And it doesn't have to be all business. It could be GameFi and metaverse and these types of things, because let's be honest here, like the vast majority of us spend an enormous amount of time as a society in video games and in recreational experiences. And
I didn't just beat Dragon's Dogma 2 days ago. That did not happen.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Baldur's Gate 3. There's like millennia worth of playtime from the user base there, and there's still hundreds of thousands of people concurrently playing that game. It's unprecedented to see that level of participation. So if you get a game like that on Cardano, that could be a huge win for everybody, because those people won't just stay in that game world. They'll have the infrastructure, they'll be in the same forums, they'll be talking to people, and then they might get interested in a social network on Cardano or an OpenAI competitor that's doing a decentralized LLM, and they want to have a censorship-free experience when they ask AI about stuff, and maybe they want to have a historically accurate Pope picture or something like that. You get that stuff, but you have to bring people in the tent, and they have to be aware of it. I don't particularly care how they get aware of it. They can get aware of it through sports or through video games or through Fortune 500 businesses or what have you. It's many roads to Rome. We just want to get them to Rome.
Yeah, it's funny you say UFC, because I see the VeChain sponsorship on the mat all the time, and I'm like, that's cool for people in the know, but otherwise, who cares? It's just a weird name on a mat, and it's like, it's not necessarily connecting with anybody or reaching anybody. But if VeChain had kind of a flagship application that would be of interest to everyone, then that ultimately I think would be a much better target for everybody. Like you said, where do we funnel the traffic? Where do we funnel the people? I definitely believe it's more about use case, because otherwise, who are you targeting by just saying VeChain on a UFC fight mat? It doesn't really seem to do anybody any good.
Yeah, exactly right. And so what if there was an application stack where you can like bet on the fighters real time or tip them while you're watching using Hydra or, these types of things, or there's an NFT connection to it, and the NFTs trade based upon performance. There's all kinds of augmentation. So that's a partnership that I think could produce a lot of value if it was done correctly, because
Absolutely.
They would use that as a way of engaging. It would make Dana quite a bit of money, the fighters quite a bit of money, but then more importantly, it also creates a platform like fantasy football where you have millions of people who are watchers using it. So I could imagine that happening, and that's an example of a potential strategy. I'm not advocating we do that. I'm just saying that's an example of a potential strategy, for people. And if people think it's a good idea, then
I've been thinking about doing something exactly like that for 3 years now.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine trading an NFT for one fighter of another fighter for keepsies, right? I bet my fighter's going to win. I'll put my NFT on the line. Oh, my fighter lost. I lost that NFT. But there's a transaction fee associated with that.
Or imagine that the fighters lose their NFTs if they lose. And so if you beat somebody, not only do you beat them, you get their NFT. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hey, I just stole your manhood, man. I just took it from you. So there's a lot you can do there with these types of things. and it may enhance the experience. And the thing is that in a big tent, I think about it from an academic engineering protocol level of how do we make the technology able to enable that vision. Then the community thinks about it from their particular subject matter expertise. So obviously you have a different one than Hofsky does, or the financial market guys do, or whatever. Everybody has a different life story and experience. And the point of decentralized governance is saying, can we blend those stories together, find common themes, and then create a unified budget and process so that we can go and pursue that? And then it comes downstream to me, and I say, okay, well, what technology do we need to make that happen? And what's the best approach there? And in some cases, we hybridize things. Like partner chains, for example, we hybridized with Parity Substrate. So we brought the whole Polkadot ecosystem into the Cardano orbit, and we enhanced and modernized certain things. But then we also took advantage of really good design ideas there, which sped up parts of the roadmap. And in other cases, there's like Zcash came up with Zcash came up with Halo, and there's some good ideas there. So we're bringing that into the Midnight orbit, which allows us to have best-in-class recursion and other things for snarks and for zero knowledge infrastructure. So it's not just about can we invent it here, it's also can we bring things into our orbit and then as an ecosystem take advantage of it to execute a commercial vision that we have. And that commercial vision is everybody's property. There's no one person owns it. So everybody brings something to the table, and the synthesis of that is what the annual budget basically reflects. And we just go and try to get it done.